So we've been to Switzerland, we've been to Germany, we've been to Japan, and today we're taking the last part of our journeys through watchmaking regions around the world. And it's going to be an exciting trip. So pack your bags and let's go on this last flight through different continents. It's What Talk with Francis. I'm Francis. Let's get into it. So we discussed the watchmaking regions, paying importance to the fact that a lot of those places we talked about had their movements, assembly, manufacture in-house in the various regions. Now, it's going to be a bit different now because in some of these regions we're going to talk about, we have a cross between some manufactured in the regions or the countries, some with heritage in the countries but manufactured somewhere else, and some of them are going to be a mix of both. So let's start in the United States of America because they like to go first. And it's a bit tricky. We have some brands that are very popular. Let's take Hamilton. Hamilton is known as a Swiss brand, but Hamilton was founded by an American in Pennsylvania in America and did not move to Swiss ownership until the 1960s. Now, Hamilton is owned by the Swatch Group and has ETA movements in them, but you can't take away the Pennsylvania heritage. I mean, as the name implies, Hamilton. So it is a Swiss brand, but it has American heritage. Now, still being in Pennsylvania, we have RGM watches. Now, RGM, I think, is the United States closest to hot horology because the watches are manufactured in America by a proper watchmaker. Very nice dress watches, guilloche dials, good movements. Like I said, it's the closest thing the Americans have to hot horology, in my opinion. And then we move over to Detroit with the Shinola Watch Company. Now, Shinola, I like their watches. They're more modern, cheaper, with more quartz movement than mechanical, but I think they have a mix of both, and it is a truly American brand. Now, we move away from America and move back to the Far East, and then we go to China. Now, we know how the Chinese are very good with pretty much anything they do. They have the production capacity, they have manufacturing powers, and with watchmaking, they don't shy from that. Now, Seagull is, I think, it's an amazing movement maker. It's been around for years and years, and they have really good watches. I own a Seagull hand-wound chronograph. I've had it for 19 years and it has never skipped a beat. They are very popular with the chronographs, and you have this another interesting one where it segues between countries or between continents. You have Atelier Wen. Atelier Wen is more modern brand these days. Amazing watches that came up with the first one, which was an integrated sports watch. It is a Chinese brand, true and true, but it is founded by two French men who live in China, but the watches are manufactured and assembled in China. So let's use that as a quick segue and move to France. Now, in France, we have Beau Bleu, which is, I hope I pronounced that right, Beau Bleu, the watch with the beautiful round hour and minute markers. Very distinct designs. The watch that is owned by a French, is a French-owned company. The watches are assembled in France. I have not dug deep enough to know where the movements are manufactured, but it is a French brand. Same with Baltic. Amazing micro brand out of France, founded by Etienne Malek, a French guy, and Baltic movements are basically made in Hong Kong, but assembled in France. Now, next door, let's just move to England. Now, the British have a lot of, proud British heritage brands. Let me start with Bremont. Now, Bremont manufacture their watches in their facility in the UK. very popular. They were, I think, a bit more popular in the 2000s. They got a lot of flack recently when they changed direction and changed designs, but I've been seeing what they're doing now, and I quite like the watches. Now, besides Bremont, we have Christopher Ward, we have Fears out of Bristol with amazing watches. Christopher Ward, Fears, Farah all have usually Sellita movements, maybe modified Sellita movements, which are Swiss movements, but the watches are assembled in the UK. I'm not sure of Farah, but I know that Fair's watches are assembled in the UK, but the movements are from somewhere else. I mean, which is common practice. You could get your movements from Japan or from Switzerland. You can get your cases from somewhere else. You can get your straps from somewhere else and assemble somewhere else. But your heritage also matters. Now, if we talk of heritage, let us move a bit further in Europe and go to Austria. Now, this is one of my favorite brands ever, the Habring Watch Company, owned by Richard and Maria Habring. Habring 2, well, because it's Richard and his wife, Maria, but yeah, so Habring 2. Amazing independent watches. Richard Habring is popular from innovation of the double chronograph, the split-second chronograph for IWC, where he worked before founding his own atelier and make amazing watches. And he proudly writes them there, made in Austria. Now, so that is where you find a watchmaker, not necessarily enthusiast-backed, but just a proper watchmaker. Now, when you talk about an enthusiast-backed brand, you know, it's scattered all around the world. Let's go back to Asia to one of my favorite watches again, Ming, owned by Ming Tian, who is a photographer and major enthusiast and has designed a very recognizable watch case. And, you know, he has good, beautiful watches, Swiss-made movements, but it is a Malaysian brand, all true. Now, when we talk, if we've opened the world of watchmaking into enthusiast-backed brands where their movements and assembly can be done somewhere else, let's bring it back home to Nigeria. We have quite a number of independent micro brands that are owned by Nigeria. So let's say you have Nigerian founders, not made here, not assembled in Nigeria. The movements are not from Nigeria, but the owners and the founders are Niger-born, true and true. They have the Niger blood in them, and shout out to Nigerians. You know, when we go for something, we go deep for it. There's Sovereign Watches, I've spoken about them before. Flexago, I've spoken about them before. And I ran into a brand recently called Carriage Hill. They make amazing dress watches. I spoke with the founder, great guy. And listen, when I talk to these founders and I hear their stories, it is always out of a deep love for horology and wanting to put their country and their heritage on the map. Now, obviously, we probably don't have the watchmaking capacity here, but you know, who knows? Maybe from these brands and these great founders, we might start to do some things in-house here at some point in time. Now, listen, there's probably a lot of other brands as usual that I have not mentioned. That's why we always do what we do in the comments. Let's chop it up, remind me of some, and then maybe we can do another part of the rest of the World Series. And listen, if you like this video, you know what to do. Like, share, subscribe, comment, banter, do all the things that we love to do so we can keep this channel going. It was fun talking watches, guys. Stay safe till we see you again. Bye.